So as you can see here, this is our sunrise slide where we talk about how BTP is the foundation for cloud ERP and or LOB solutions at SAP, may it be your human capital management, spend management, supply chain management, or even customer relationship management. And the BTP also empowers your processes, end-to-end processes such as recruit to hire, source to pay, design to operate, and lead to cash that are present in your organizations. There are a lot of resources and blogs published on the same. You can always have a look at them and explore at your time. Apart from these capabilities, BTP operates on certain key aspects called the suite qualities that facilitate a consistent experience across your applications and solutions. For instance, one of them is the seamless user experience. SAP has similar user experience to maintain consistency across all SAP solutions to make it more user-friendly and easily accessible for existing or new users. Essentially, this simplifies training your new business users to adopt different business solutions from SAP. Another one is the coordinated lifecycle management, which is primarily the SAP for Me tool. Basically, all the information that you need regarding types of licenses, SAP knows, knowledge base articles, how to raise tickets, and much more is available on this service that is provided by SAP, which is a one-stop solution for all SAP-related information. So with that, we'll move on to the next slide. So you can see here the multiple or the various suite qualities that are available based on which the SAP BTP has been built. You can go through this in your time and understand further on how you can implement this across your organization and leverage this across your organization. Yeah. So now let's look at the BTP services and some more of the pillars that are available in BTP. So the BTP technology platform provides a wide range of services that are broadly classified into 5 domains. One is the application dev, the automation, integration, data analytics, and AI. Let's start with the application development pillar. So under this, we have the SAP Build apps, using which you can build real-time applications using low-code, no-code approach, which allows even citizen developers to build and deliver applications. And now once you have built your application, you would want to host them somewhere in your organization so that your employees can access and work with them. That is where the build work zone comes into picture. It comes in 2 standard variants, which is the standard and the advanced edition. The standard edition is your central access for all your SAP systems. Meanwhile, the advanced edition provides you with extra capabilities where your employees can interact and collaborate to work by creating a workspace among themselves, post newsletters, publish articles, and many more activities. This is the heart of the collaboration in your organization. For Pro Code developers who want to build applications, we have the offering SAP Build Code, which is an evolution of the SAP Business Application Studio. With this, we delivered a simplified application development journey also to the professional developer with a Pro Code perspective. It also has integrated GenAI capabilities which accelerate the development cycle. In the automation pillar, we have the SAP Build Process Automation. This is where users can create and manage workflows. Another advantage that you get here is that you do not need to build the workflows from scratch, as we offer pre-built use cases from which you can choose based on your business scenarios and customize accordingly. The task center acts as a single entry point that connects all your SAP solutions and notifies you with the pending tasks that need your attention or approval. We'll now move on to the next pillar, which is the integration pillar. Integration with BTP has become simpler as it boosts faster connectivity within less time between the SAP solutions and SAP to non-SAP third-party solutions. Using integration suite and other services provided under this pillar, you are enabled to simplify enterprise integration by leveraging out-of-box integration packages to seamlessly integrate end-to-end business processes. Again, we have pre-built content that is available as part of the SAP Business Acceleration Hub. Moving on to the data and analytics pillar. This pillar gives a purpose to your data as it is converted into meaningful insights across various business domains to align with the strategy, impacting your financial and operational decisions. And this is essential in today's age where so much data is getting generated in your organizations. They feature built-in intelligence to understand the business semantics of your SAP application and your business processes. Under this pillar, we have the SAC, DataSphere, and the MDG, Master Data Governance offerings. And saving the best for last, we have the AI pillar, which is integrated across all LOB solutions. AI has created a lot of buzz in the market today, and we understand the customer needs in the same. And we are offering solutions such as AI Core and AI Launchpad towards this. So cutting edge models from partners such as Microsoft, Google, Anthropic, IBM, and many more have been made available to be consumed through the GenAI Hub for all your business needs. You can go through the links available here and understand more about these offerings. Now we look at the commercial models on how your organization consumes the services that are available. So with that, we come to the next poll in the webinar today. So are you aware which kind of license that your organization has purchased, whether it is a subscription-based or pay-as-you-go or BTP EA license? Okay, I see a good amount of responses again. Okay, I do see that the majority of folks are not aware what kind of license model they have available, but I see a fair number of users also or attendees also having the subscription model, which is excellent. We just provide a few moments for participants to vote. All right, perfect. So I do see that a lot of you are not aware of what kind of model or license that is available, which is completely all right. You can reach out to our team or the account executive to understand more details on the same. So we'll now look at the different kinds of commercial models that are available. So commercial models associated with BTP can be broadly classified in two ways: the consumption-based and subscription-based models. Under consumption-based models, we have the pay-as-you-go and BTP Enterprise Agreement. And also the BTP Enterprise Agreement is recently evolved from the CPEA. We will share more details about the differences among the same in the presentation as we go ahead. Now let's understand the models. So first, we'll look at the pay-as-you-go model. This commercial model allows you to sign up to start using cloud services in your production environment with no upfront cost, no minimum usage requirements, and no financial commitments. Pay-as-you-go for BTP helps you start small and grow without constraints. So essentially, pay-as-you-go for BTP allows you to pay only what you use. You can start small, build productive apps, and convert to CPEA or BTP-EA once you have achieved predictable usage. In business technology, so looking at the next commercial model that we have, that is the BTP-EA, which is a Business Technology Platform Enterprise Agreement. You pay an upfront cost and sign an agreement with SAP. The amount paid is converted into cloud credits, and based on the consumption, cloud credits are deducted from your existing allowance. The cloud credits are consumed based on the actual usage, as we mentioned. And the key points to note here are that you get access to all the services available under BTP EA, and you're able to configure them in your global account with just one contract. This includes new features or innovations available after the contract signing date as well. And you get to choose how to spend your cloud credits and monitor real-time service usage to better understand the project costs. And the services can be consumed required on the project requirements, and you only get charged for what you consume. So the monthly consumption is shared with the users over an invoice, and the related cloud credits are mentioned in the same based on the services that are used. In addition to the services available under CPEA, BTPA also allows access to services such as SAC, which is Analytics Cloud, which can be activated right from the BPTV cockpit itself. This is a key difference as compared to CPEA. So that's why you have this. It's better to go for the evolved version, which is BTPEA. Finally, looking at the subscription model, this is a commercial model that lets you choose a fixed set of services for a fixed rate, regardless of the actual consumption. So what does this mean is that the contract includes exact services that you can use in your project and will be provisioned in your global account for entitlements. The model is best suited for those who are clear about their use cases and know which services can help them solve the use cases. And as I understand, today we have a fair number of users who are in this model. So a key option available is also a free tier services, which is introduced for the BTPEA and pay-as-you-go license models. This is best suited to explore and try BTP services to see how they work at your own pace and in a production environment. And you can build and test new ideas, which is use cases and small apps. We also have pre-built resources already available in place as a step-by-step guided missions and developer tutorials to learn the basics. But you need to keep certain limitations in mind when you activate free services. The limitations are mentioned as part of Discovery Center, which my colleague will be covering later as part of the demo, where you can see. And it is recommended that the free tier services are not meant used for productive use cases, as after the certain limitations, the data that you have built might get lost if you are not mindful of the same, especially for services such as Integration Suite. So for customers who are signed up for pay-as-you-go or CPA license, you'll get immediate access to the BTP cockpit, and you'll be able to access for those customers that are on the subscription customers. You can access the free tier by signing a pay-as-you-go agreement via the SAP store or by contacting your account executive. So again, the most important point to highlight here is that SLAs will not be provided for these free tier services while you're using these. So, and however, SAP community support will be provided for the same. So it is again recommended not to use these for productive use cases. Now let's look at the data centers and regions. So hyperscalers are a central part of our strategy, and SAP has hence decided to partner with the leading hyperscalers in the market, such as Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, Alibaba Cloud, and GCP. They're very important partners for us as we execute our strategy, enable customers, and use SAP's innovative cloud offerings globally, and serve them with the best-in-class cloud solutions. We jointly help accelerate our customers' digital transformation journey to become an intelligent, sustainable enterprise in the cloud. So this way, we are able to provide them the infrastructure that they require with continuous innovation on the choice of their platform. On the right-hand side, let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So on this slide, we have a global map that shows where the data centers are located. It basically depicts the geographical locations across the regions such as APAC, EMEA, and many others. So 18 plus new data centers are planned for 2026, and SAP is constantly improving the coverage with these data centers. And recently, SAP has also added a data center in Pune. Earlier, it was only available in Mumbai, and the new data center has been made available in Pune as well. Will be made available in Pune as well this year. So the goal is to have all the flagship services that are available on the right-hand side, such as SAP Integration Cloud, HANA Cloud, Analytics Cloud, and many more, available across all the regions in the data centers. It is important to understand if the services that you need are available in the data center. This will again be covered in the demo as part of the Discovery Center. Now let's move on to the get set phase of things. So in the second phase, let's look at the best practices beginning with your BTP adoption journey. So in your BTP adoption journey, we start with the strategize phase, where you define the use case, determine which services are required, and establish the priorities and timelines for your use cases. And then you move on to the plan phase of things, where you determine the hyperscaler and region where you need to deploy your accounts, and what services, based on which services are available. And you can also conduct a cost estimate using the Discovery Service Center that Christoph will be covering in the demo. Once all this is in place, you can go ahead and move on to the setup phase, where you will set up the account and the governance models for smooth operation of your BTP tenants. And this is where most of your administration pieces happen, so that you have a smooth operation of your BTP account once you have that available. And once that is done, finally, we can proceed to the adopt phase, where the work done in your previous phases will enable you to smoothly consume the relevant services to integrate, extend, and automate the business processes, allowing you to bring in innovations into your organization. This is a very important slide, so I request you all to pay attention. That this slide will cover the basic terminologies that you will need to understand when you start working with BTP. So to begin with, the global account. When you sign a contract with SAP, you get access to a global account where you get to see which kind of services have been provisioned based on the contract that you have signed. You can administer and set governance models at this level. No actual work happens at this level as of yet except the administration. Now, within the global account, you start to create sub-accounts. The sub-accounts together hold all the applications, services, and subscriptions in which the development work can be done. Inside the sub-account, you add the services, which are nothing but your entitlements. And the entitlements are made available to your global account based on the contract signed and the licenses purchased to be assigned to among your sub-accounts. The directories that you can see on the right-hand side are a new feature that provide a folder-like structure to organize and manage your sub-accounts. It will help you identify the right sub-account for the right use case. It is completely optional to create directories. It is for the ease of administering your BTP accounts. Finally, regions are a geographical representation of where all the data centers are located, as we saw in the previous slide. And they allow you to host the data centers, application data, and services in these geographical locations. Now, all these terminologies that we looked at earlier, we'll see how they all come together, how they interrelated. Once you sign a contract with SAP, you get access to a global account where the information related to billing, types of commercial models, and what kind of entitlements you have are made available. You can have your administrators defined here. The best practice is to have at least 2 admins defined at each level to ensure the business continuity in case of unavailability of any of the administrators. So this is essential. And within the global account, we can create directories as we saw previously. And as mentioned, it is optional, completely optional to create the same. We can go on to then create sub-accounts. And it is recommended to limit sub-accounts to only as much as required for your use cases. This is to help make it easier to manage and operate your sub-accounts. But do note that you can only host a sub-account in one region. And you can also have your administrators defined and your applications users defined in the same. So a sub-account can only be mapped to one region. So please note that. And also for secure login, you can leverage SAP identity services in which you will come across IAS and IPS tenants, which you can configure not just with BTP, but any other LOB solutions from SAP or non-SAP systems that you have. From an environment perspective, we have Cloud Foundry, Kima, and ABAP Cloud Runtime environments to host your applications. Currently, Cloud Foundry is the most preferred option among our customers. Now we look at certain best practices for structuring your account models. There are many ways that your account can be structured. Yeah, there are many ways account can be structured, but today we'll look at 3 common models that we see. So let's take an example of a customer moving from S4HANA to ECC. There is more and more focus on the clean core to keep customizations as much as outside from the core. And this is where BTP comes into play to extend your core and help in safe and faster innovation cycles. So for a customer, this is model number 1 that we look at. For a customer starting with a BTP journey, this is a simplest structure. It's a 3-tier environment. We suggest to have stage development environment where you can create sub-accounts for dev, test, and prod, as this allows for dedicated user management between different stages. And you can then create dedicated spaces for apps or projects within these sub-accounts if you do not need a dedicated user management for these applications or projects. So with this model, you can restrict access to application and the admins, ensuring high security. This model also helps you to distribute particular work to different development teams. Another model to structure your accounts is that you have a stage development model with central testing and production sub-accounts. This design is mostly suited for companies with a focus on continuous integration and continuous delivery, which is a new paradigm. And every development project has their own space and is empowered to make development decisions independently. Once development is completed, the project is moved to a central testing and a production account, sub-account, ensuring high degree of governance, data security, and compliance. Basically, when different teams are involved in various projects, it becomes easier for each team to work independently without intervention of the other teams and make their own decisions with this model. And finally, we have the model that's best suited when you want to bifurcate the work functional area-wise in your organization. Having stage development environment for each functional area like HR, sales, IT, marketing, and many more helps you distribute the sub-account administration to several teams and ensure that it is administered in an efficient manner. Consider a scenario where we want to assign responsible colleagues to each account landscape. This is the model that you want to go with when you want to have administration across the verticals. So these are the best practices to follow when constructing account models, which we usually recommend to our customers. With this, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Christoph for the demo. Thank you.
I believe you can't see my screen, not yet.
Yes, Christoph, we can see it.
Do you have the mission reference architecture and so and so?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, because I don't have the logo on my page, so I'm not sure I'm sharing, so that's it. Okay, so welcome, and let's go to this third part, which is related to the, let's say, the demonstration of Discovery Center and BTP Cockpit. We had a question previously about, do we have access to all services depending on the commercial model? So the answer is not no. And there's another question which has not been raised, but we have to address it now, is that we don't have all services available on all data center everywhere in the world. So this Discovery Center will give you the answer to this question. So first, you have four main tiles. The first one is mission. If you have no idea of what you're doing, or if you just have a business definition of what you want to do, go to the mission and open the mission catalog and search for something which is looking to your use case, such invoicing, or let's say invoice, and you'll see that there's a lot of things related to invoicing, and you have this. But if you want to say procurement, so it's a wildcard thing, and you can search within what is interesting for you, what is already existing, and giving you the detail of a mission. I will show you that from another perspective, which is the service. The service is the list of all BTP services available everywhere, whatever the commercial model. This will answer the first question. So if you want to check what is available for a specific commercial model, the previously existing CPA, which some customer may still have, will give you access to 82 services only. If you go to the pay-as-you-go, you have 62. If you go to the BTPA, you have also 62. And you have the list of these available services here. If you want to go to subscription, then you see that you have 41 services available for subscription only. Now, let's go back to everything. A second question which is often asked is, can we choose the hyperscaler and the location we want to use our application on? So yes, you could do that and say, I want to selection, let's say, Amazon Web Service as my favorite hyperscaler, and I want to use it in, let's say, Japan. And then you see that here you have pre-selected Amazon Web Service in Tokyo, and then you have all these services available. So that's a way for you to prepare. As VK has explained to you, you cannot set up in a same sub-account services which are not available from the same region. So this is a prerequisite to check if all the services you want to set up into a single sub-account are all available at the same place. So this is the place to check these sort of things. You have also, if we do unselect this, you can use prepared categories. So you want to say the news and feature. This one are available for that. And you have also the always free and feature services, which has been also exposed by VK previously. If it's a feature, it means that you have the possibility, because you have a pay-as-you-go or a BTPA contract, to use them for free for a certain period of time or for a limitation of capacity in the computing memory capacity or number of messages and so on. So it depends on the service. So let's use one specific, which I will demonstrate as an installation later on in the BTP cockpit itself. So it's cloud transport management. Cloud transport management will allow you to propagate parameterization and events data from one sub-account to another sub-account, and it can work also through different global accounts. So it's always presented the same way. If you open a tile for a BTP service, you always have these 5 tabs. Overview, which give you the feature of the service, what it is able to do and what is it intending to. And you can always get more information if you want to know more about what it is intended to. But you also have the list of what is required to activate it. So here, SAP Cloud Transport Management stands for itself. No need to have any other service to work it. Integration content, you can get that here. You have different resources, the product page and so and so. And which is very interesting is for almost all BTP services, you always have either initial setup or what is. And if you have what initial setup or what is, you get access to how to execute the installation of the service. So that's interesting to know that everything is available from here. And then at the bottom, you get a support component code, this one, which helps you when you have an issue during your development with this specific service. You copy this code in your SAP support ticket, and that will speed up the answer, because it will automatically be routed to the proper person to solve your problem. So that's it. Let's go backward. First, the customer stories are the success stories at customer. So you don't have any technical detail, but you'll get the in-outs. What was the challenge? How long does it take? So what does it cost? And what was the return on the investment for this success story? The roadmap gives you a floating 4-quarter plan for the development. This service is so mature that we don't have any development plan to improve it, because it's satisfying for the customer so far. A rated mission, that's interesting, because that's where you can see what is how to implement that with a concrete, real use case. So let's switch to this one. You see that route monitoring traffic. Then you have the description of the use case. So you have what is the mission, because you can start that as a mission for training or learning the different component. And you see that this is the description of what this mission is related to. You see below that you have the list of the different BTP services you will have to implement to execute this mission. So it's not only one. Okay, and then if you check here, you get a sample of what will be the different services, BTP services, and how do they articulate one to another. Okay, that's it. Now, you also have about the mission, and then you can say that you have a second tab is the project board. This is exactly the step-by-step, screen by screen, and even field box by field box, what to do. And so if you do run you start your mission and run this, you will be assisted all along to execute exactly what is defined in the use case description. Okay, and the support is if you are having trouble during this mission, and you can get support from there. And you can also, if you want to see that there are other missions related to the one you're doing, if you want to do an additional one later on. Okay, so let's go back to home. SAP Business AI feature. I will not go deep into it, but it's something related to mission, but specific to AI. So it's a bucket of ideas for you to get inspired about how to implement AI in your business. So it's just something which are, let's say, already implemented, but you can also get inspired from that and find your own way to implement AI in your business. And the reference architecture are something which are related to what are the best practice to articulate the different B2B service one to another. Okay, now that we've done this, let's switch to go back to BTP service first, because I would like to show you the different things we did related mission, but we missed the pricing tab, which is the most important one. Because here you can choose what you want to use as a commercial model. So you see that from time to time you have things which are not existing. Okay, just to show you the difference, here we have a standard commercial plan and you have the free one. Because you are in the BTPA, you can use a free one, but you have limitation, as VK has explained to you. When you use a free tier model, it's free, but you have some limitation. Sometimes it's time, but most of the time it's capacity. So you see here that you can't get more than 2 gigabytes of storage capacity per month, and you have a limit of individual files to 1 gigabyte. And the retention time for the transport of parameterization is only 7 days on the free mode. Okay. You also have something which is interesting, that you get per hyperscaler what are the available data center for this very service, SAP Cloud Transport Management. But as you can see, it can be different for the standard one. Okay, so check before you implement that. If you choose a free tier model location, that is also existing as the standard one, because you can move from the free tier to the standard one easily through the BTP cockpit, and that also I will demonstrate to you. So if you want to know what are the limitations, you go to the tile. So let's go to back here. You choose the one you want. So for example, ABAP. And you see that ABAP environment is one. You go to the pricing and you see that the free one is existing. You have a limitation, which are these ones. You are the location here. And you see that billing block is by 16 block GB blocks is one billing block. The standard one says you pay this way. This is the different way of calculating the cost of a service, and it depends on the service. Here it's terms of memory and runtime memory, but some are based on computing time, some are based on number of messages. So if you want to anticipate and know what will cost the service, you need to go to the Discovery Center to get an idea about it. Okay, that's it. Now let's go back. And I will use the cloud transport again to be there. Okay. As you can see, transport, when you get the full one, the costs are 18 euros per month per gigabit of bandwidth consumed per month. That's it. Now, I believe everything has been explored in the Discovery Center. Let's go to the BTP cockpit itself. BTP cockpit itself is organized exactly as VK exposed to you in the presentation part. And you have a global account, and under the global account, you have optional directories. And under the directories, you can have sub-accounts, or you may have sub-accounts directly attached to the global account directly. So here you can see that we have, in that case, a lot of things, but I will just show you the first thing to do. When you log for the first time on your BTP cockpit, because when you get a license for BTP, there's only one people defined as the owner of the BTP cockpit for your global account. And this is the only person who can connect to it. But that person should do this type of action the first time. So go to user and promote additional users such as abc@sub.com. Choose the identity provider. This is an external authentication we use for some development, so I will use the default one. And then you do create a user. ABC is created, but you need to add him some roles because he has no right to do anything there. And for example, I will add that as a global account administrator, an additional one, so that from that time, you click on assign the role, then there's another person able to connect to your BTP cockpit and do administration of the BTP cockpit. An administrator is working at the global account level and can manage creation of directories, creation of sub-accounts, and distribute the entitlements to the different sub-accounts. So let's do it for a demonstration. First thing, I am a global administrator and I want to create a sub-account. And the sub-account will be sub-account January 21. Okay, I will put it in Frankfurt, but I could use another one, Frankfurt at Google Cloud Platform, or India, Mumbai for Google Cloud Platform. But I will keep it on Amazon Web Service in Frankfurt. It gives you a subdomain name. The subdomain name is just a short part of the global URL will distribute to your final user once you have finalized your application development in BTP Cockpit. You don't have to give access to BTP Cockpit to all your final user. You just distribute the final URL of the application, and then there's an internal mechanism for authentication within the application, which is defined also within BTP, but it's not, you don't have to populate your BTP Cockpit with all your thousands of users if you have to. No, it's a separate mechanism. So once you have defined your subdomain, you can either change it, but if you change the subdomain name, you have to maintain the name, the uniqueness of name for this subdomain forever, because if you delete this sub-account and so this subdomain, you can't reuse it anyway. So better to keep it as it is, because it's no use to keep track or change something which is a very small part of the global URL. If you go to the advanced one there, you can add labels. So what are labels for? If you want to take control of your costs or make some internal reinvoicing of the costs for the BTP Cockpit services, then you can use label. For example, here at the sub-account, we can say my owner, because you can type whatever it is. Huh? There's not a prepared list. You define what is the label. And then I say that my owner will be abc@sub.com. Okay. I do create this. This sub-account is there. And you can see that there's one label available, and the label is the owner. Okay. So let's create that, because a sub-account, what you're doing there is you're creating the various components on Amazon Web Service in Frankfurt to host your future service, BTP service on that. So it's not only creating something virtual on screen, it's creating a virtual environment on Amazon Web Service in Frankfurt for you to set up your services on it. So let's open the SA Jan 21. And now we are here. The best thing to do is to define an additional user. I will create with the default identity and create it. And you see, I'm already there. Why? Because I created the sub-account. And as I'm creating the creator of the sub-account, I am automatically promoted as the sub-account administrator. Okay? So it's important to understand that a global administrator can create directory, can create sub-account, distribute entitlements to the sub-accounts, but is automatically promoted as sub-account administrator And so if you do not take care of that, you may have people, we have the right not only to distribute services, but also activate and then generate costs for you company. So take care of that. So what I will do is ABC, which has no assignment yet. I will name it sub-account administrator and service administrator. And I assign that to him. And once that is done, he is the owner of the sub-account and then can activate services, but not choose and add services. I will do that right now because I'm a global administrator and I can do it. Now that we have created the user, we go back to instance and subscription for this specific sub-account, SA Jan21, and you see that nothing is created. There's nothing here. If I go up to, that's level, let's say level 1. If you go to Marketplace, this is a list of already existing entitlements. They are not services yet because they have not been activated, but they are entitlements attached, assigned to this SA Jan21. Okay, sub-accounts. And if you want to check that, you see that we have not that many of them. But if you go to the entitlements, you see that there are more than just the one we see. Because in fact, if you take authorization trust management, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different flavor of the same service. What we will do, see that here we don't have cloud transport management. This is the local library of entitlements for this SA Jan21 sub-account. If you want to add additional one, you have to do the edit thing. First, let's check. Why do we have all these ones? Because all these services here and the different flavor of these services are always free, which means they are so vital that SAP always gives them free of charge for you, every time. You don't have to pay for them because they are free of charge. Then you want to add one different, one additional service, which is transport. Use, I'm mistyping. You have cloud transport management. I select it, and you see that I have different flavor as I already add. And choose the standard application, free application, and standard instance. So I choose to add this free service plan. And now these free service plans are here. I have to save them to keep them in my local library. I download them from the global library to my local library of this sub-accounts. So as a global administrator, that's the way you distribute the sub-account, the entitlements to a sub-account. Okay, so once it's saved, I go back to edit and add service plan. What you see here are all these services which are attached to your contract. The contract you sign with SAP is defining all the services you have the right to use. So if you were just running subscription, you would have only the subscribed services available there, and you will have only the subscription box there. That's it. So that's level 4. Everything is available here. Here you are at level 3, which has the local library for your sub-accounts. Now, if you go back, staying in your SA Jan21 sub-account and go back to Marketplace, then you discover that in level 2, you now have cloud identity, cloud transport management available. And now what to do with that? To activate them, you have to create a service from that entitlements. You see that's cloud transport management, and then you have to choose the commercial plan. So we choose to download into our local library in SA Jan21, 3 different flavor. We have them here. So I would choose the free one. Okay, you always have to tick this, even if it's a free plan. Okay, so it will not generate any cost. You use the free one, and then you create that. And now you are deploying within your global account, your sub-account, the service cloud transport management. Now let's go back to instance and subscription, and let's see what happens. We are deploying all the components required for cloud transport management here within your sub-account, which is Amazon Web Service in Frankfurt. So now you're deploying cloud transport management. It takes a few minutes. This one is fast. That's why I do demonstrate it during the presentation, the demonstration, and it's already done. But if you want to go to the application, it's not the right timing because we've created a service. And if you check, you see that it's running now. But you still need to add yourself as a user for it, because here I am a sub-account administrator, but I cannot run anything on transport management service. I need to tick these ones. I can also add a cloud connector administrator in case I want to connect to an external solution, external out of these sub-accounts and out of this global account. So now that it is done, if you go to instance and subscription, you have your running BTP service, can be this one or another one. If you click on it, you open the service. And now you're no longer in the BTP cockpit user interface, you are on the cloud transport management user interface. As you can see, nothing is available within it because it's a brand new implementation. But you could define your transport nodes. You can define starting and ending points of transport, and you define your transport route from where to where. And then you can define your transport request, which also allows you not to only to define what to transport, but you can also define frequent recurrence of transportation. Okay, and of course you can get a transaction log and see what has been done if you have an error, a warning, and this sort of thing. So now that you have done that, you could do any other things. You can activate any other things from Marketplace. If it's not available from Marketplace, you go to Entitlement, add a new one, and activate it into this very specific sub-account. Okay. The last thing I would like to demonstrate to you before we go to the Q&A is that you can check what are your usage of the system. And so you can see that if we go to SA Gen 21, nothing will be here. We just created it. We have no data for that. But if you go to BTP Onboarding CPA, you see that the name has changed. It's not usage analytics, it's cost and usage because you're at the global level. And here you can see that if you go to cost and usage, something which is very interesting is you can see what has been used and what are the costs for the global accounts. Okay, so you can choose to view by service or you can choose to view by accounts. So if you want to see this one, you get the different services which are attached to this directory and see what has been the cost. Okay, you can also choose to view by service and say what is my cloud transport, for example, and see that I have only it running there. Okay, now something which is very interesting is that from here you can choose to export. As you see, cost on usage. So here you have the cost in US dollar or in euro, depending on where you are based. And if you do a usage, you don't have the cost in money, but you have the usage in metrics, the metrics we exposed in the Discovery Center previously. So what you can do is you can export. And if you don't choose anything, you get a file. I don't know what is opening, so we'll see if it opens on another screen. I will show it to you.
Yes.
Yeah, here it is. And you see that there are several folders or tabs in this file. You have the global information, you have the global account costs. So you see the date and you have the different information and you have the cost. So you can use that to make a follow on that, but you can also use that, get the information by sub-accounts, which is more interesting maybe because if you want to redistribute the cost, then you have it. And you also have the labels. You can see that somewhere, the labels here, you have the sub-account ID and you have the label and the value. You can make a cross analysis using this sub-account ID from the sub-account cost here, and you get, for example, a cross analysis to show who is costing more money and who you should be informed about the cost of a sub-account using this label. So it's a way for you to distribute information internally if you want to follow the cost per sub-accounts or per owner. Maybe a owner can own several sub-accounts. That's the way you do it. And that ends our presentation of BTP Cockpit. The only thing I could add is that this is the way to activate a service, a simple service, but you can leverage from the global account level only. If you're in a sub-account, you can't see this booster icon, but from the global account, you can use a booster. A booster is a scripted, integrated set of several setups. So here, for example, if we use what can I use for you? Process automation. So process automation here, you can set up a SAP build process automation. You have the overview of the booster, what it's supposed to do, the component integrated into it, and the additional resources. Okay, but what you can do is start. What will happen? First step will be checking the prerequisite. If, for example, you don't have process automation available within your list of licensed BTP services, you can't run it. It is checked at that level. If you want to do it, if you want to go to next step, then it will ask you if you want to create a new sub-account or use an existing one. I will say I select a sub-account, and I would choose the one we have launched previously, which is Jan 21. This setup, this very specific setup, will not only create a sub-account if you don't have created it, but will also activate the application, will activate the instance, and will create the Cloud Foundry spaces for that. And on top of that, it will even create and associate the proper privilege to users attached to this service. So you don't have to do anything but just to follow this and launch it. I won't run it because, in fact, this setup lasts 15 minutes on this current infrastructure, so I won't do it. But this is another way to launch, to set up build process automation. That's something I wanted to show you. I will just run it very, very fast. Say that directories are just a presentation layer, which means that we have created, here we have created SA Jan 21 as a sub-account, and we put it directly at the BTP onboarding CPA global account level. Okay, but if I want to move it and I want to put it to another directory, I just select the new parent and I say move it. And whatever I've done within my sub-accounts, creation of team, role distribution, everything, data, I've generated data, I've created links from this sub-account to other sub-account or to external system. You can move the sub-accounts. It's fully self-sufficient. You don't need to modify anything if you move a sub-account, which means that if you want to match your real corporate organization into your BTP directory organization, you can do it. A department name changes, you change it in BTP as well. You have a split or a merge of service, you can do it directly into BTP Cockpit and keep it. Whatever is in the sub-account is self-sufficient. The only thing you can't change is the region where you have activated it. That's the only solution, the only point you can't change with the sub-account. So choose clearly and fully, with full conscience, what you do with your region selection when you activate sub-accounts. That's the only point you can't change after that. So now I have finished and I leave Meda, closing the meeting.
Thank you, Christoph and Narayan, for such a brief introduction to BTP and various concepts related to it. I'm sure this session was really helpful for our attendees today. Before we close on the session, I would really appreciate if you could give us your valuable feedback and help us fill in the final poll so that we understand